Hi Satya, good evening. How are you? I think today also I'll give rights to everyone to talk because as it is, we have a very small class.
Hi,
So,
ma'am. Good
hi,
evening.
how are you, Satya? How
Hi,
is
I'm good, ma'am. How are you doing?
good, good. Thank you, Satya. So, Satya, आज तो छुट्टी होगा?
हाँ आज छुट्टी थी मैम
हाँ,
और अभी
because of
टेस्ट
Eid,
हुआ
Eid
जस्ट
or Saturday?
हाँ
Because of Eid or Saturday?
no it is Saturday. I mean every Saturday Sunday we have
Ah, lovely. That's nice. Huh? I
yeah,
think that's a saving grace that at least you have Saturdays ka, off and all. Yeah, that's a good thing.
right.
Hi, Tamogno. How are you?
Hi, ma'am. I'm fine. How are you
Good,
doing?
good, good, good. Very nice. So even you have a holiday today?
Yes. I always had holidays on Saturday and Sunday throughout my
Okay,
entire
I
career.
can say that I'm officially jealous of both of you, Satya at least.
That is the only reason we are still doing the job.
Absolutely. I know.
Right.
Sanity is required after 5 days of hectic work.
Correct.
True.
So we would be, as I told you last time, so today we would be doing the fourth session, which is on HRM, right? So today's the entire session is on human resource management. So again, we know that it is just a 2.5 hour session. So we would not be able to, learn every bit of it in a very exhaustive manner, because if we start talking about the topics, each topic is in a book in itself, right? It's like a course in itself. So we would be touching upon certain concepts of human resource management today. So what we'll talk about, I'll just give you an entire gist of it. So we'll talk about what do we mean by human resource management, then we'll talk a little bit about planning, then we'll talk about recruitment, selection, induction, orientation, and I think performance management. So yes, a lot to be covered, like in the entire gamut of HR will be talked about in. But in general, right, what is your first thought when it comes to you? Tell me truly, okay, your first thought when we talk about HR people. क्या आता है फर्स्ट थॉट?
Rules and regulations in the organizations, in the sense from behavioral aspects,
Okay, so rules and
how
regulation.
to conduct yourself.
अच्छा, so
And
is it
for
split up?
example, when I was coming to for this MBA, I spoke to them that what needs to be done.
Lovely. And Tamagna, is it true? Because when I ask people, they say Rangoli and birthday celebration comes to their mind when they talk about HR.
Not really. In my previous organization, yes, but not here. Yeah.
In my organization, yes, ma'am. This is the
That's a
I,
first.
I think I think that is a service based and product. Tamogna currently works in a product based company, so I think there is a difference because most of the people who are working currently in service based, I have asked them and they have the same feedback.
Okay. So in general, as Satya is saying, no, the honest thing which comes from my heart about HR is that, yeah, what they do, Rangoli competition and birthday celebration. That's how we kind of portray HR.
Ma'am,
Because,
but why I am saying this because I have observed few things. So people who are in senior, I mean HR management, they are doing their due diligence. But when it comes to the entry level people who are in HR, I have seen they come at 11 or 11:30 and they leave by 3:30 or 4.
oh my
I'm not
God, which job is that? I'm ready to do that job, Satya, 11:30, and I'll leave
So
at
I am not sure what exactly are they doing. Even 4 or 5 years
maybe
of
Satya,
experience.
they're working half day kind of individuals. They might have been hired in that manner.
No. After that, they are seen playing table tennis or they are seen in gym.
They're motivating you. You all are not understanding the gist. They're trying to motivate. They are telling you this is the way you need to relieve the stress.
Yeah,
So
so basically my manager
read
should
between the
be.
lines, Satya. Okay, jokes apart, but the life of HR isn't that easy as we see. We always see, and generally you'll see one more thing, since we have been always, since the time, HR is always seen as management's watchdog. That's the thought process for HR. It goes like, and that's somehow it was true also that what employees are doing, it would be relayed to the management and like that. But having said that, HR's job is much more humongous if they're actually working in it. Also, one more thing, you'd see that HR people, they were not from the business side a lot earlier. Okay. Now we had earlier we had an approach which was a traditional human resource approach, which was a personnel management, where it was a very transactional kind of job. If Tamogna or Satya has a problem, then they will go to the HR and HR will try to find solutions. A very reactive approach, very transactional approach. But over the years, it has changed. HR has now become strategic partner of an organization. And we need to understand that any organization would not be able to sustain and have profitability if HR is not in sync. Even when you are going for, expansion, diversification, consolidation, your HR has to be partnering with you, because in terms of training, in terms of hiring people, in terms of cultural sensitization, everywhere HR comes very handy. Now, that's what, as Satya was saying, that yes, it is seen true. It's not, the stereotype has just not happened about HR, but it's also the reason how HR has been from earlier times. HR was not, HR, you also, one more thing, please, okay, do this research for me, and sometimes later on, we can connect over in any platform, and maybe you all can see that. You will see people from marketing, like a person who is from marketing will become a CEO. Person from operations may become CEO. IT se bhi CEO. But tell me, how many HR heads have actually become CEO? Chief executive officers. HR has never seemed to have such good business sense. But trust me, I think, right? Do you agree, Satya, Tamogna?
Yes,
Yes, yes.
that's a good insight. I never thought about that.
Because see, they do not have such strong business side, but I think it is very important. So, Tamogna and Satya, when you grow up the ladder, you would not be able to relate much if you have joined, if you have not seen the base. So I think it is very important for all of us to start working from the base to understand what actually goes in shop floor or, operational level. Till the time I'm not aware of the operational and tactical level, I can never grow to strategic level. So I think that flavor of business is required for everyone. I should, as an HR, I should not be saying, oh, I don't understand numbers. Of course, we will have to. I cannot have that as an excuse. Everyone has to understand business side, every aspect of it. And that's where, so that's how the role of HR is very important and intriguing. We have just, the journey has begun, of course, right? The journey, we have come a long way, how we all started, but still a much more longer way to go. So when we talk about human resource management here, the entire gamut comes, right? Right from anticipating, like forecasting, how many people would be there. So it can be forecasting, planning, recruitment, selection, induction, orientation, performance appraisal, training and development, compensation management, everything. Till the time you resign, rewards and recognition, exit interview, everything. The entire life cycle of an employee would come under your human resource management. Now, there's a difference between recruitment and selection. Okay, we always use it very interchangeably. In our normal day-to-day life, we use it quite interchangeably. But when you talk about it, when you go into details of recruitment and selection, you will see the recruitment is attracting the potential candidate. It is as when we start building any house or any, if we want to construct anything, we all know that foundation is very strong. That's a basic knowledge you and I will have. We don't want to be civil engineers for that, right? So there has to be a proper mix of gravel, whatever, stones and cement, whatever is required. Okay. And the quality has to be good. Recruitment is something like that. It is the first step towards selection. So recruitment is attracting the potential candidate. See, there's so much, I've told you before also, there's so much talent in the market, but not talent. Every talent would be the correct talent for me. So it is to make our base strong. We need to make sure we are able to attract the right candidates for us, because only when I'm able to find those right candidates, from there, I would be able to select best. Okay. If I'm not able to attract right, okay, this is a trash I'm getting. Okay, I mean, not getting the right fitment, I will never be able to select, because after recruitment, the next stage is selection. So in recruitment, we are attracting people. Okay, job postings, JDs on your Naukri.com or LinkedIn, these you will find job descriptions there. Also, I'm pretty sure business communication, you would have done it. But remember, like the trends is that do not have your CV more than one page. Okay. I'm pretty sure Satya and Tamogna, you would have done it in your business communication. CV has to be one page. Okay. And basic structure, keep your CV ready. If you see 2023 trend, both of you, write your skills on top, right? It's like your keywords. Now, basic CV is going to be same, but again, make sure you're customizing your CV as per the organization where you're applying. Because you all know, you are from analytics field, you all would be very more than aware than me that there is something which is ATS, applicant tracking system. So if you do not have those keywords, and these keywords would be in the JD, watch out for those keywords, incorporate that in your CV. Otherwise, you know what happens? Your CV will take you to that door. Okay? वहां तक पहुंचने के लिए we need something. That CV will take you to that door, and after that, it is your performance. But then to reach to that door is important. However talented Satya and Tamogna would be, but till the time you're able to reach to that door, how would it take place? So it's very important that make sure your CV has all those words. Yes, no, done in your kiya hai business communication?
It was not exactly this in business communication. In business, there was a subject called personal branding,
Okay.
where it was taught how to create a branding for yourself. But CV part, yeah, it was not
Yeah.
taught.
So
CV
Tamogna,
part,
yeah.
CV part was discussed. I think it was just discussed verbally. So,
Achha.
but there was no mention of. Yeah, I
So yes,
remember one
make
time she
sure
has.
that you have these, because you both know it very well that how applicant tracking system, however, you might be the best fit for the organization. But if you do not have those words, it would be filtered. See, Satya, what happens is that Tamogna would be very happy looking at his credentials because it is personal to us. We feel proud कि अच्छा मैंने ये भी किया, I've done this and all. But for them, they are seeing these CVs every day. We may have a personal attachment, but not for them. So they are scanning a lot, and it's not manually. Nobody's reading your remember. Nobody reads it holistically. Only when they are interested, they find you to be the suitable one. But before that, you have to skim through that so that you go for the next one. For that, make sure keep your CV ready, but make sure you're reading the JD job description thoroughly, and incorporating those keywords in your CV so that your CV is selected, does not get weed out in your applicant tracking system. After that, you know your game, you know your job very well, you will sail through it. Yes?
Right.
Yeah. So when we talk about recruitment, how do we find the potential candidate? So rather than saying that, okay, engineers wanted a computer engineer for this many years of experience wanted, many people will send it across. Many people you will know. But we want the best from the lot. Right in the beginning, we want to attract the best talent. And for that, what they've done, they have simply given certain equation and they've said, okay, you know what? You need to solve these equations. If you're able to solve these equations, you will get a phone number. And from that phone number, just give us a call. This is how it is done. So that's what. So if as an individual, I may think, oh, I'm the right fitment. But when I try to solve this and I feel that I'm not able to do it, that means somehow the kind of work they're expecting from me, I wouldn't be able to do it. Right? Absolutely, Satya. See, that's an insight, Satya. Absolutely. And you have given the statistics over there. So that's how it is.
Yeah, I was reading it somewhere, so I just got it.
Yeah, very good. I mean, Satya, that's
days
how
back.
it is. See, Satya, when you top the class and then you do something, when you get a gold medal or anything in best employee, for us, it is special because we have worked hard on it, right? For others, it's just one of them. Like, for example, when we send our kids to school, we feel very attached and we feel bad for the first day. But for the teacher, they are doing it day in and day out. For them, it is normal. Yeah. Your child is one of the students. Your child may be special for you, but for others, he's just or she's just one of the students, right?
True.
Okay. Now, another bit is that simply they could have said that we want a tattoo artist, but rather than saying that, they have sent a QR and they said, you know what, you need to color this QR code and then scan and send to us. An individual who would have that clarity, that precision, that person would be able to do it. I may think like, right, I'm the right fitment, but if I'm not able to show the kind of precision and the kind of finesse, that means I'm not the right candidate. Another bit, okay, this is company who's put it which has put this ad saying that we want marketing like manager, and they said, do not mention the M. And look at the shape of the M and tell me which company could have said this thing.
McDonald's.
No, but Tamog, no, look at the shape and they're saying, don't mention the M. You're in the right direction, but what it could be? Think about a competitor of McDonald's.
Oh, okay. Burger King.
Absolutely. That's correct. Burger King.
Understood.
Yeah. Burger King is telling you, don't mention them. So this is
Understood.
sometimes we use wit, sometimes you use special effects. So always, we have to find special ways of doing things so that it attracts the right talent. Now, if you all, both of you, if you are interested in doing a bartender's job, a side hustle, okay, moonlighting, you are able to decipher this. What is written on the slide?
The final.
Yes. A final what? You all are very good.
Oh.
You will not get selected. You don't have a side the bartender. Huh? Probably you are sitting on the other side of the bar.
Yeah. Final.
So it says that Satya is not even trying.
No, I'm trying. So go home.
Come on, Satya. Either you both are pretending to be very sober kids, or else.
No, actually.
Okay, you are sober. I am not disagreeing to that. So it says a final one more before I go home.
Final one more.
So it says that if you are an experienced bartender, that means you can understand the babble of drunk people. So you are right fitment. So abhi tumhari side job gayi, right? Okay. Now there's something very interesting. Let me see. So there's this ad which says that there's this individual who lives on the 10th floor. So every time he comes down from the lift, he always presses the ground floor button to reach. Okay, that's what he does. Now, whilst he's going back, he presses the 7th floor button and then climbs the rest of the floor. Why does he do so? Why would someone do that? While he's coming down, he presses the ground floor button. But when he's going up, he presses the 7th floor button. Whereas he stays in 10th floor.
He's fitness oriented. I
Okay,
mean,
among the
you're
second-
starting on that journey.
Fitness.
Right now, only floors. Later on, I will go on the 5th floor.
Okay.
Second stage.
उसके बाद ground floor से चलना
उसके,
शुरू. What about you, Satya? What do you think?
I'm thinking upon it.
Satya is like, is she teaching me HR or she's
No,
or
I mean,
the
very
10th
interesting.
or 10 button is not working probably on the lift.
Okay, chalo, theek hai. Like, you all are interesting to find out different reasons. Satya, find out one more reason.
10th floor.
UPSC के एग्जाम में आएगा सत्या ये.
UP. But the thing you mentioned about perception about HR to start with, right, ma'am? Just for a minute, I wanted to say that this perceptual problem about any kind of a role I have seen throughout my career exists. Not only about HR, but the second point which you mentioned is right, which I never thought about. Yeah, HR never get involved in the business. That's the reason it's difficult for them to step up. But I am telling you, I personally have seen, have been into multiple roles. Unless the point when I was as a developer, I never saw there was a perceptual error about what I do.
Absolutely.
So developer, everyone knows, okay, I develop code. But when I was at the starting, when I was into operations, then came into support, then production support, everyone thought I'm doing some worthless work. And
we
then
don't understand that cross what do you say, department integration is not that good. Every department is working in their own silo. That's what happens.
And when I was a developer, I always used to think that what is the need of product management in a company? And now I am a product manager. I feel like what is the need of so many developers?
Roles have changed. Satya,
Every role yeah, ma'am.
क्या हो गया? Still thinking?
नहीं, मैं question भूल गया.
Oh, very good.
Then-
Can
Very
you just
good.
repeat it once more?
So there was this guy, Satya, who stays
Uh-huh.
in 10th floor, and whilst he's coming down, he presses the ground floor button. But when he is going back, he presses the 7th floor button. So Tabangno said either he's just started his fitness journey or else the button might not work. So that those are, and I do agree, these can be the possibilities.
Someone is there on 7th floor.
Satya is telling his own story to us.
Achha.
So yeah, so that is also interesting. So maybe he's meeting someone on the 7th floor, but the reason is that he's not very tall, and that's the reason he could not reach up to the 10th floor button. So that's the reason he presses the 7th.
Oh,
So again, but then having said that, your answers were also wacky, out of the box. So that's what, Marico says. Marico says that we are those advertising, we are that kind of company which builds brand. We are the ones who have made Saffola the brand of the year. We are the ones who have made Kaya Skin Clinic the retailer of the year. And if you really are one individual who thinks in a very disruptive line, and I think both of you thought very differently, then this is your place, right? So that's what they kind of try to bring in people from, the right fitment for their organization. Now, coming to next one, let's talk about what are the sources of recruitment, which are external sources of recruitment. But can you all tell me, both of you, can you tell me what could be the internal sources of recruitment here?
internal job posting
IGP,
and then
very good.
referrals,
Referral.
referral of and
Referral, yeah.
And tell me, I'll tell you something, Satya and Tamogna, as you go up the career ladder, it was only referral which is going to work for you. Trust me, when we joined that time, your Naukri.com and all those things really work. But as you move up now, you will also take people along with you, and your high ones will also take you along with them. This is how it generally happens, right? Now, as you said, it can be referrals. Referrals are said to be the greatest source and the most trustworthy source. Another use, you all said IJPs, which are absolutely bang on correct. And then there are transfers, there are promotions, and there are also ex-employees. You'll remember Infosys Nandan Nilekani case, that earlier, there were so many people, and then Vikas Sikka's exit happened. And before Nandan Nilekani was there, and after that, he went for this UID Aadhaar card thing, right? At that point of time, Nandan Nilekani was of the stature of a cabinet minister. And then when this Vikas Sikka exited, and people said that nobody was able to handle Mr. Modi because he was not an easygoing person. So as Mr. Nilekani would have done, so they brought Nilekani back to the table. So that, ex-employees are also many times called back. So for example, if you all remember, during this COVID times, they all asked all the medicos and people who have retired to come back to serve. Do you all remember?
yes.
Yeah, who were in the
nurses, and all those
profession.
Yes, they all asked those medicos to please come and serve that. This is your ex-employees. Now, not every time we would be able to fill up the positions through the internal sources, because not every time we would have in-house capability for that. And also sometimes the post, the vacancies are more, and we don't have that much talent or that much, key skill set within the organization. Then we have to go outside organization. So now we'll talk about the external sources of recruitment. We'll talk about public advertisement, campus recruitment, executive search firms, special events, self-initiated walk-ins and write-ins, and social media. So first is public advertisement. Public advertisement is that what we see in Naukri.com or LinkedIn or probably Times Ascent, right? So when this advertisement is done for the public at large, which can be seen for everything. So for example, if I see Satya's or Tamogna's LinkedIn profile, and I really find it to be very nice, and I'm from a talent acquisition team, and I reach out to two of you saying that I've seen your profile and it's really interesting, that would not be called as public advertisement, because I've privately messaged you. Whereas if that public advertisement is on my company's website, on my company's LinkedIn page, and then you're contacting, that becomes a public advertisement. So in general, public advertisement is available for everyone, all the public around. People can access it easily. So for example, Naukri.com, that is, or LinkedIn page, that would be a public advertisement. Going to next is your campus hiring or campus recruitment. So generally for the entry level positions, we go for campus hirings and campus recruitment. Like for example, if it is an engineering college, they might take diploma engineer trainees or graduate engineer trainees. And if it is from say management, it would be generally like management trainee. Okay, it goes in that way. So what is the process of campus hiring or campus recruitment? So organization, they go to the campuses. So first of all, they'll tell, that we would want this kind of marks or this kind of CGPA. Okay, they will tell people about it. And after that, after once that cutoff is done, those people who qualify for that, they will sit for a kind of a quantitative analysis, some kind of test, a general aptitude test would be taken. And then after that, the ones who get the qualifying marks, they'll go to the next level where a group discussion will happen. Again, after group discussion, some of them would get selected and they'll go to the final round, which would be a personal interview round. And when the ones who get selected through the personal interview, they would be given a job offer. So this is generally how a campus recruitment happens. Now, the next is executive search firms. So executive search, we all know about consultancies. People do approach them, okay? Then they will tell you if there's any job where you get the fitment and all. But then here, when we talk about these executive search firms, these are the top search firms, or rather, these are the search firms for the top level position, like CXO level position, VP and above kind of position. So these companies may charge in order to fill up that vacant position of that, top level, like VP or CEO, CMO, COO, CHRO, CIO. For that level, they may charge anything between 8.33 to 25% based on the company and based on the profile which we are talking about.
So,
right?
These consulting firms do actually hire, or mostly these types of positions are filled by referrals.
Yeah. But then, Satya, but then many times, even through referrals, when you're not able to get, so of course the charge is very high. So these companies, generally they have a lot of, these companies, when I know these top companies, and if I've grown to that level, I will also be in touch with their consultants. So their consultants always tell people that right now, so for example, right now, say Asian Paints is hiring for their VP marketing position. So where are you working right now? If they have earlier placed that individual, so they can also refer people, right? Sometimes it can also happen from referral, but not every time you would be able to fill that position because of referrals. Okay, there might be certain times when, and then the organizations, they get in touch with these consultants. I'll tell you the top 14 or 13 consultants which are there in India. So you all are also aware that they can help you. Okay, when you reach to that level, or maybe if you are in that level, you can be in touch with these people, right? So you will see here the top 14 executive search firms in India. Are you all both able to see the page?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. So this is ABC Consultants. Then there's Accord India. Then there's NZ Careers. Then Cornerstone International Group. Agon Zeller. Executive Hedrick and Struggles. IKEA Group. Corn Ferry. Michael Page. RGF Executive Search. Russell Reynolds Associates, Spencer Stewart, and Stanton Chase. These are the top 14 executive search firms in India. Okay.
I have never heard of any one of, not even a single one of them.
Satya and Tamogna, you would, these people will get in touch with you in like next 2-3 years, and they would be hiring you for some organizations to be, CIO. I'm just assuming that you are from information and IT. So I'm just assuming.
No, not CIO.
COO, Chief Operating Officer. Right?
Yeah.
COO hoga Satya. Tamogno right now only told that he's now into production and operations, right, Tamogno?
Product management. So CPO probably. Chief Product Officer.
And what is your area?
My area?
You are talking about me,
Yeah.
ma'am?
Tamogna told me. What about you?
Okay.
This was Tamogna actually. So
I know Tamogna said now into production and all.
okay. So
no, I just want to clarify, ma'am. Sorry, it's not production and all. It's product management.
Product manager. You know, Tamanno, I teach in a place, I'll tell you something very interesting, which is a liberal kind of university where people are from across streams. Okay. So the
Yeah.
concept is based on NEPs and all. So people from like, music also, so I teach subjects like, cross-cultural communication and business communication. So they have people from across. Now there are students from music. Okay. And then they say, oh, I'm a production engineer, production something. And then for me, I would not, for me, music is Gana only, right? So I think so
No,
that's why
the reason I wanted to clarify, because I suffer from this, because whenever I
I
tell
get
people
that. See, because
product
people don't
manager, they
know.
will
Yes,
ask, oh,
that's
is that project manager? What is the difference?
yeah,
What do you
I
do?
get
Production and operations.
it.
Product manager is completely a different kind of a role. I mean,
From
I have to
production. I
go
get
about
there's
and
this
explain
product and this
everyone.
बिल्कुल दो अलग चीजें I definitely
जो
do.
प्रोडक्ट बनाते हैं, जो प्रोडक्ट आइडिएट करते हैं.
Absolutely. I get you are from the ideation and the creative part. That's what I told the students that for me, it's so good to understand your perspective also. Say it is different. It's like, music productions, like we think about what kind of music should be, what kind of pitch and everything. I said, yes, you have at least made me a little cool. So I will understand these concepts very well. Otherwise, for me, music was always singing, right? They say, no, the ones who are doing their specialization in vocals, those are different. I said, okay, I do get it now. So yeah, I get that, Tamaga. Yes, Satya, over to you now.
So I am into quality assurance and process. So I am leading I'm leading a module there. So currently my project, so I am leading it. I'm not a project manager. I'm team lead for a certain module. Yeah.
Very good, Satya. And how many years of experience you have?
It's 11 years almost. 11
Very
years, 1 month.
Very nice.
1 month. Yeah.
And Satya, you were based out of which place?
So I am native from Bihar,
Acha.
but I am in Pune from 11 years.
Okay. So, Satya, shall I say a stereotype?
Huh?
Shall I say a stereotype? I thought you would be doing your UPSC. The maximum people from Bihar.
Yes. That is the stereotype, and you are very correct now.
And 4 attempts.
They are like the Bihar, I think, is a hub of intelligent people who crack all these tough examination. Like, I mean, that's the statistics again saying, not stereotypes, Satya, right?
No, it is a stereotype also, ma'am, because there was a time when people used to continue with all these. I mean, 4 years, 5 years, 7 years, today also, but the percentage has decreased a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever try?
No, I never tried, ma'am. I never.
Okay.
I don't have that much of patience, actually, and
I
not
know.
have that perseverance also to
Bilkul.
study for 15, 16 hours. I can never do that.
I remember you telling me that you really want to have a good life balance, right? You only told in the class.
I do not remember, but yes, I want.
I think you said that. Your
Okay.
first class, when we were discussing these things, you said that.
Okay.
And then we have something where special events. So special events are generally helpful for people in the entry level again, because we all know this career expo, job fair, job mela, where these organizations would have their own kiosk and people would go there. So generally when people are in initial stage of their career, like say starting it or 1, 2, 3 years of experience, they may get on the spot job offer as well, right? And then we'll come to self-initiated walk-ins and write-ins. I don't know how many of you would have done it. So one is a walk-in which is done from the organizations part, where they say, we would be having interviews in this particular place, venue, they give times and they tell the kind of bare minimum qualification, and people reach out to them, or people reach to that position during their interviews and all. Okay, but when we talk about self-initiated walk-ins and write-ins, trust me, it does happen, especially on the days when we all feel fatigued and frustrated from our own company. And that is the time we start to go to different website, you start searching for, and then you start sending your CVs either to the career portal or through your mails and all. You start searching for the people's email ID and send the write-ins. Have you ever done it?
Yes, this happened.
Yes.
I was expecting to go to US in the last organization, and they sent another person who learned everything from me. So that weekend I dedicated to going to other companies
And some of the
to just work
these
it.
kind of things are very heartbreaking when we are expecting something and that does not happen. If you're not
And
expecting
yeah,
that, yeah.
it was distraught for me. Yeah. And then that weekend dedicated to going to other companies, dropping my CVs. If there are interview happening, I
Yeah.
will give that interview.
That self-initiated
And
working.
actually, I remember in my last company, I told my manager that I'm not going to stay here for more than 2 months.
You did it?
And yeah, I left in 1 month.
Wow. Now guts, itna confidence is very much required. What about you, Satya?
No, ma'am. So I got campus selected, and I
Oh,
have been in the same company from that time onwards. Yeah.
very nice. I mean, that is a very, very interesting thing.
Somehow that has affected a few things, but yeah, that's okay. I mean,
Okay. But Satya, on that note, I'll show you something so you must have heard about quiet quitting.
which term, ma'am?
Quiet
Quite
quitting.
quitting. Yeah.
Quiet quitting.
Yeah. So it
No,
was
I
a
haven't
trend
heard
very
of.
much in 2022 where
Okay.
people would just do the bare minimum because when they felt like, as Tamogna was saying, that when you feel that your inputs are not reciprocated in the form of appreciation and rewards or recognition or a career, planning forward, people tend to do a bare minimum ki theek hai itne paise mein I'll do this much, I'll come 9 to 5, do my job, no extra initiative, nothing.
That
That
is true. Yeah.
quiet quitting. But nowadays there's a new term, a new terminology which has come. So again, I think it is especially relevant to know the current terms, which are known as your quiet hiring, where people from within the organization may be given a chance to grow. I will show you a video on it. So you can read about quiet hiring and quiet quitting also. But before that, let me talk about social media. Social media is another platform where people do get hired. So many people, they do get contacted through LinkedIn. When their work is seen on LinkedIn, if you're following the right people, if you're posting the right things, you will get. So generally in Facebook and all, you will find, little bit of entry level position and chota mota and all those things. But then LinkedIn has come a long way. LinkedIn has become like a free Naukri.com where people, if you're doing the good job and you're telling people about it, you would get exposure in so many different places. Okay, now before I head on to selection, let me show you a video. Sorry. Just give me a moment. I'll tell you what is quiet quitting all about, right?
Yes, ma'am. You told.
So are we there on the video page?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we spoke about the latest trend at workplaces, and what better day than a Wednesday. Some of you may be struggling to cope with midweek madness. The countdown to the weekend has surely begun. Some of you may be fed up, even thinking of quitting in rage or quiet quitting in rage. Now, what's that? What is quiet quitting? It is the latest workplace trend. It does not involve silently resigning or slipping your resignation letter under your boss's door. Quiet quitting is about quitting the idea of going above and beyond your KRA, key responsibility area at work. This trend is basically about doing only what you're expected to do. If your job is to lead a project, that's all that you do. You don't propose new projects. You don't help others with their projects. You don't mentor colleagues or help team building exercises. All you do is lead your project. They say quiet quitting is about quitting the hustle culture. It advocates signing in at 10, signing out at 5, doing only what you're hired for, and that's it. You get the idea? For the longest time, this is what you were told not to do at your workplace. But today, Gen Z is embracing the idea of doing the bare minimum. They have dumped the idea of going the extra mile or working extra hours, taking work calls on weekends or after work hours. Gen Z is quiet quitting. There's sort of a workers' revolution on TikTok. It is being endorsed as a revolt against overworking. The trend apparently began in China. Beijing has now banned its mention, quiet quitting. But workers across sectors are talking about it. So how healthy is quiet quitting? In theory, it may sound like the ultimate mantra for a perfect work-life balance, sign in on time, sign out on time, enough time for family, for sleep. And this may sound like the most sustainable way to work. In practice, though, quiet quitting may be just the opposite. This trend stands to take a toll on your life. Now, I assume that most of you work because you have bills to pay. Sure, a lot of you love what you do. But you wouldn't work pro bono or for free. Now, what happens to these bills and to your life if you lose your job? Quiet quitting comes with that risk. And hear me out before you dismiss the idea. You see, there's a very thin line between setting healthy boundaries and being disengaged. It is healthy to not bite more work than you can chew, but it is unhealthy to duck at the sight of work. It is healthy to spend time with family, unhealthy to sign out at 5, even if there's pending work. It is healthy to switch off on weekends, unhealthy to be non-flexible about it. Like I said, it's a thin line. Also, managers can tell when someone has crossed that line. It's easy. You can figure out that someone is not putting the same effort as they used to, or when the person's productivity falls. And it stays that way for a long time. Do you know what happens next? Appraisal season. It works on Newton's third law of motion, action, reaction. You get what you give. And work is very transactional that way. If you don't give your best, your employer won't give you the best of opportunities. It leads to stagnation. Your bonus letters will reflect this stagnation. You see, no company wants lackluster workers. You may have noticed how such employees are often sidelined, kept out of strategy meetings, and eventually told to leave. Also, every trend has its good, bad, and ugly, and this is the ugly side of quiet quitting. Experts believe this trend is a result of global burnout, and the theory makes sense. 52% of workers the world over are burnt out. So they're trying to find a way to get back a sense of balance. But is quiet quitting the best way to do it? If you're burnt out, should you too embrace quiet quitting? Why not talk to your manager instead? Figure out a way to cope with the burnout, take a break, come back and deliver your best. But don't let your reputation suffer by becoming the face of a demotivated worker. If you're not satisfied with your work, discuss with your manager. If nothing changes even after the conversation, then quit. Take up another job and give your 100%. But don't become that worker who just does the bare minimum. If you think you need to reevaluate your career, then do that. Upskill yourself. And whatever new it is that you choose to do, be enthusiastic about it. Don't stay in a job half-heartedly. Don't quiet quit. It neither helps your growth nor your reputation as an employee. And that said, you know your situation best. All I'm going to say is think twice before you jump on a trend. WION is now available in your country.
Okay, just. So did you all see
Download the app now.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, now let's
But
talk. Yeah, bolo.
there is one mention about there is a thin line between unhealthy way of working and healthy way of working, right? And quiet quitting is like the other extreme, and I'm not going there. But I have seen people in my organization who even accepts on a regular basis calls at 1 o'clock in the night, 12 o'clock in the night, and they think that it is normal, and they expect and they expect their subordinates to do the same. And when they do not do it, they give their own example, which I think is like
Very wrong. Which is, that's the pitfall. You cannot be what you're doing fine. You enjoy doing that. I don't know. I might like to have my time, right? For me, I would want to bifurcate it differently. This is my office time. I'll work hard. I'll log out. Yes, when needed, there would be certain times. We all agree, right? Satya and Tamogna, there would be certain times
See, the thing
you
is,
have to go in that extra mile, but it cannot be a regular affair. Simple as that.
see, the thing is, ऐसा भी नहीं है कि the meeting which is happening at 12 o'clock, there is no representative. There are US representatives for that. Then why do when there is structure in place, why do you want me to join?
Absolutely.
It's just for the formality's sake.
So like that's what I'm saying, Tamogna. There would be maybe certain times when you would be required, right? But it cannot be a regular affair.
Cannot be, yeah.
Once in a blue moon, कि ठीक है,
And
एक quarter में कभी बुला लिया, ठीक है, but every weekend or every other day if you're doing, then it's an unhealthy practice. And the people who are trying to propagate this practice, they should also stop it. So as as a manager, you are also doing wrong. And you are setting wrong examples for others. Every individual is different. You are working, okay, fine. If you're fine with that, you don't want to demarcate a personal boundary with professional one, you might be comfortable, but I'm not.
see, I'm telling you, I don't know everyone will watch this on YouTube or not. So I have been in a meeting where there was the director and there was one of the managers and the manager's subordinate. And the manager had accepted that 12 o'clock meeting and was asking the subordinate to join that call if possible. But the director was telling the manager, in my organization, you might want to join it, but why are you asking others to join?
Absolutely.
I really like that, and that is the reason I'm sticking with my current organization. There is wonderful work culture, and the leaders here are very rational. They have put in a structure in place which ensures that you can enjoy your family time as well, other than work.
That's an absolutely great thing. I mean, see, if we aren't fresh in our mind, how would I even dedicate? To be very simple, it can be as simple as that. If I do not get my Saturday and Sunday to rest and recuperate and refresh my mind, how do you expect me to come on a Monday with fully charged batteries, right?
True.
So it can be as simple as that, yes. Now, Satya, do you want to put in something?
Not just as of now. Palki Sharma was telling something which was, I think, that is too much biased on the organization side. So basically, she was talking as if she is a spokesperson of organizations. But if she keeps herself in the shoes of employee, then actually she will understand what goes on and what happens there.
But sometimes, Satya, I'll tell you a truth. So for example, Satya, we were talking about, remember, terminal values and instrumental values. And I said, terminal values are where you reach the permanent state, and instrumental values will help you go there. And instrumental values do not change. Terminal values keep on changing.
Right.
Satya, एक terminal value है self-respect. And I remember once one of my student, he asked me, why are you putting self-respect in terminal value? It is something which will never change. So I gave him examples, Satya. Sometimes if you are the sole breadwinner for the family and you are getting humiliated at work, you do not get acknowledged. Sometimes you might also get humiliated. People tend to stick to that humiliation also because they have a family to feed. Trust me, it's unhealthy. I'm agreeing. But just because till the time I get a right opportunity, people compromise with their self-respect, Satya.
You are very right, ma'am.
No, I was not talking about any self-respect or anything that company has done to me wrong. So I'm not talking about.
I'm talking, see, she said that you
just
need
an example.
She was saying, Satya, that you are the right person to decide for your priorities, because then you have to pay the bills. I'm saying from that perspective, Satya.
Right. She is right on that part. Yeah.
So which one you were feeling that, she was giving an organization's perspective more on it?
So I do not remember the exact line, but
maybe in certain things,
I think
it might have come across. Yes, maybe. See, Satya, but then Satya, abhi uska kuch ek recent interview aaya tha where she was talking about that how in boardroom things are so different, how it was an unhealthy work culture. I think so recently she
has not talked anything about attrition, which company is facing. Every company, mostly every company is facing.
See, I think
attrition is the major reason for attrition is
culture. Yes, you are right, Satya.
Major
reason is that only, yes. Because, Satya, in many organizations, you will see, Satya, especially when the organizations are promoter driven, you will see that it works on the whims and fancies of promoters. So today they might be liking me, so they will give me a good raise and good promotion. Tomorrow, if they lock horns with me, they will just
It
chuck
is
me out
fully
of the
transactional, ma'am.
organization.
So why shouldn't be the employee? Why shouldn't be employee be in a transactional?
Absolutely, absolutely.
No, yeah, so what Satya is telling has got a good context. Actually, he's
Absolutely.
right, because see, it also depends on the organization culture. In my last organization,
100%.
it was more about okay, you have done A, B, C, which has been given to you. What more you have done other than this? And
So what
that
you have
more,
done for us, that they forget. No?
yeah,
That is correct. I think Satya was coming
the more decides how much extra age that you are going to get in appraisal. But in my current organization, it's about how perfectly you have done the ABC which was given to you.
True, true, true. Satya, I do agree to that part, because it is most of the time, it is how you are treated. It is very, very vital in any organization. That is true. So yes, of course, why should I take that extra mile when the organization is not taking care
So
of me?
I'll just give you one example wherein it has happened very recently in my company.
Acha.
So we had so much of workload from past 2 to 3 months that we were working for almost 10 hours, 11 hours a day. Despite that, during the appraisal, so there is a policy in our company that unless and until you earn so much of credit points, you won't be promoted to the next position.
Okay.
Okay. So credit points with trainings have to be earned.
Acha.
Okay. So we had so much of work and we could not earn any of the credit points. We could not attend any training because that was not getting approved from the higher management itself, from client side and from the higher management, it was not getting approved. Any of the training session was not getting approved.
Okay.
During appraisal, it was straight away told to us, I and my manager both were told that you have not taken so many of credit points. Therefore, no promotion for the next year. And this has been happening from past 3 years now.
How would it happen when you are loading us, overloading and
Exactly.
burdening us with work? How do you expect us to attend? Because
Exactly.
if
So
you would have attended that, they would have said you are not able to do your core area, you're not able to finish, and you have attended that, right? That would have been
right.
problem in that case
So
also.
from higher management, all these things are abstract. So
That is abstract,
that is
absolutely.
the problem. And manager doesn't convey it properly. HR is in another silo. So most of the things are, I don't know how they're managing things, but yeah.
Yeah,
This is the problem.
I do agree. Then Satya, of course, then we will definitely have to be in a transactional mode, right?
It
When
will
an
be a
organization,
transactional mode.
yeah,
Yeah.
bilkul hoga hi hoga. It's always give and take relationship. If you are taking care of us, we will do everything. Okay, and employees do extra only, barring few who would want to take advantage and cut a slack. And generally, Satya, I'll tell you one thing. And which is true, you will see one thing, the reward for good work is more work, Satya. अच्छा करोगे सिर्फ काम बढ़ता जाएगा. That's what happens in organization.
Especially in IT, I have seen this. If you do
Everywhere, Satya, everywhere. I have also seen this a lot in life. You do good, you would be just given more and more work.
Yes.
Chalo. These are very sensitive things. I think we all will become. Three of us have already made a community here. So when others recording, like they were kind of discussing about their life.
मंडे को ऑफिस के सामने ही बैठ जाएंगे.
Yeah. Then we'll talk about selection. So selection is something in the next stage of recruitment. As I said, that your potential candidates have to be of good quality, because then in selection, we call it as a negative process, because you're handpicking the best ones out of the lots, right? So there's a procedure for selection. So generally, as I was telling you, what happens in campus interviews, those are the steps of our selection, because at the end of the day, see, when the positions are say 3-4 and you have 20 candidates who have appeared for the interview, of course 16 have to be rejected, and that is the reason it is called to be, it's a funneling system, and that's the reason we call it to be a negative process, because out of those 20 we are choosing the best ones for us, and that's its selection. So generally how the process of selection would happen, then there would be a preliminary interviews, an application black, I'll tell you each one, then test would be there, interviews, the employment interviews. First is the preliminary kind of interview. It may be as small as an HR round and all. No problem. And then your reference check, which is like, you have provided in the form, then certain physical examinations, and then offer letter and all. So this is something, Tamogna, you probably would have filled this form online as well as offline. I have filled it offline. Okay. Online to nahi bhara hai maine, because I did not change my organization from past, I think 7 years or so. So yes, I have done it in offline mode also, where you need to give every nitty-gritty, all details about you, right?
Yes, offline I did that.
Yeah. And then when people start when they are starting their career, there might be certain aptitude tests. So Tamogna, tumhara hi test le leti hu. Tell me what is going to fill there. Batao.
Bata de, ek minute.
Question mark? See, the pressure is more. Satya has gone in the right time.
Acha, got it. It will be 16.
Oh, lovely. You're through. You got the job. 16. So we are working diagonally at 16. So now it can be something like this. Okay, where you may get, just to check people's ability and all. And as I said, in the initial, you may do. So do you want to guess, Tamogno? Here, what would is going to replace the question mark? About it.
P?
No. So it would, I'll tell you, it would be M. Reason is that when you work in rows, so E is A, B, C, D, E, fifth, and H is your A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, 8. 8 plus 5 is 13. And the 13th letter of the alphabet is M. Likewise, I is 9 and D is 4. So when you add them, you get 13th letter. So that's the reason the answer is M. Right?
Now,
So,
the more important question is, will this come in TE?
right?
Will this kind of puzzles come in TE, ma'am?
No. Come in TE. Absolutely not. Do you think? Come on. Achha, also one more thing I want to tell you people that I want to probably give you TE through your this thing only. What do you call it? Your live sessions. Is that okay for both of you, Satya and Tamogna?
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
The TE would be based on, because you have done enough from async already. So your TE would be based from the live sessions.
Correct. Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, now, yeah. So let me see what is your answer over here.
72.
No.
Just give me a moment.
Acha, 50.
Satya, come on, you live in Maharashtra. At least you would know this. Think from that perspective.
Maharashtra?
Haan, socho. See, I've given you a hint of Maharashtra.
I'm sure Satya is asking ChatGPT.
No. I'm just reading the question every time. I mean, 2 to 3 times I'm trying to read, and
I'll tell you something. So it is 2. So generally you will see that in the South Indian states as well in Maharashtra, you tend to write your father's name after your husband's name. And that's the reason I was saying this. I think probably you would know it.
62, 52, 42.
Actually, I do not have any surname. Official.
But that will be father's surname, right? This 2 will be father's son.
In Maharashtra, it is the middle name or the last name that they use.
So generally,
Oh,
so for example, whatever my father's name is, so my name would be, if I'm, spinster, so my father's name would be used after my name. So Pooja, something Rawat, okay? And now I'm married, so Pooja Arijit Basu. So my name goes like that. So likewise for if you're a son, so your name would be something like that. So I hope you all get that. So something on that. That's the reason I was saying that probably you will know it's at that. So it was just a no, but you don't worry. It was just to break the monotony of the class so that you all, you would not get these kind of questions at all. Okay. In some levels, there can be role plays also. So there can be a situation where you have an irate customer and, how to handle that irate customer. You are the product manager there and the customer has directly, or the client has directly come to you about, about the certain nitty-gritties of the product because you're the one who was taking care of everything. So how do you handle that? It can be something on those grounds to check your emotional stability, to check your convincing things, negotiations and all. Okay. Now there can be certain, remember big 5 personality traits. So there can be your personality tests. So nowadays you will see a lot of these tests happen. Many organizations, they will do, before they actually go for the interview and all, they will send these kind of, psychometric assessment before. Okay, because then they don't want to, if you do not match the kind of profile or kind of candidate they are looking for, they have this ideal profile fed into system and they will ask you general questions about the scenario based and all. And if it does not match with the kind of candidate looking forward, they would not go ahead with the interview. And sometimes it can be done post the interview.
Yes, ma'am. I can give an example here.
Yeah.
I mean, last year I got a mail from Johnson Controls. So I was searching for a job last year, and Johnson Controls, I got a mail from them. So basically, that mail redirected me to a page where there were almost 10-15 questions where it was not related anywhere to the technical or job or anything. They were just asking me simple questions like, how would you react in certain situation? So do you know, do you know driving? So if you are driving on the left side, how would you react if somebody some old man is coming from? So every question was based upon your moral ethics and everything. And I replied on that mail, filling all those things, but I did not get any reply.
That's what you from your, entire cognitive ability, we try to give the best answer. Hota hai, right? It's very natural, but we don't even know what they're looking for. For example, if you have ever given these SSB examinations and all, wo jo, Air Force, Army, वगैरह के लिए होते, it's a 1 week का पूरा test. So in, for that, they would be testing people on different things. So they may test people, for example, initial group testing hota hai to see whether you would be able to work in a group or not, whether you have that teamwork kind of spirit or not. Another, they would test you on in intellectual ability and everything, right? Test पहले तो interview देके आप आते हो तो intellectual वहीं पे check हो जाता है. There can be certain. Now, for example, think that you have passed the group test also, you have passed your personal interviews also, right? Many times people get stuck in your psychological testing and people would be like, what, this candidate was so good. Then you don't even know that they'll say, oh, this candidate had this, this entire, he would not believe in people. He would have, he has this doubting kind of personality, which you and I would not be even able to understand. So sometimes, what the kind of profile, this is, Satya, for me also. So going back to my college days, for my MBA days, when I got selected through my campuses also, but the first campus happened for Eli Lilly. Pata hoga aap logo ko, pharmaceutical company hai.
Which company?
Eli Lilly.
Eli Lilly pata hai.
So what happened? There was totally this kind of questions, situation based. Okay, and what they'll do, they'll ask the same question in a different scenario, different ways, and many times. So we gave our, we were just young, 21 plus or something, gave our best answers which we could have done. I thought what they are going to test, everybody would have done. Of course, I did not get selected in that. There were two of the individuals from my college, they got. And that's what, you never would know, as Satya is saying, that you will never know what happened because we gave the best answers. We gave the moral answers and correct, but we don't still know what went wrong there. So yeah.
Right.
And then comes your interview, right? Interviews are very important because, sometimes you may see that the profile is so good, okay, so good that when you read that profile, you will get intimidated. Oh my God, this individual has done so good. But when you actually meet the person, you will say, oh my God, this was just a facade. So people may write the best of resume writers have to chat GPT bhi aa gaya, right? You just need to know how to do it. And when you actually meet it, it's fizzled. Nothing is there. Whereas some people might not be that great in representing, but it is very difficult. Sometimes we always feel uncomfortable talking about our achievement. Hota hai ki nahi hota hai? And that's say, nahi, bahut boisterous lagega if I tell in my resume. So maybe for some people, the resume may look very simple. When you meet them, they are the mine of knowledge, right?
Correct.
There is also I have seen gaps between interview performance and job
Bilkul.
performance.
See, that's the reason, Tamogna, nowadays we have like series of interviews, because in one interview you can really create that aura, right? You can create that aura, we can have that halo effect and all that can still happen. But when these series happen, it's difficult to keep that facade for long. Though many people still do that, it becomes a little difficult.
We follow that tactics, actually, the series effect. We conduct interview process for 4 to 5 months when time permits.
I think that's a good way of understanding whether that person is the correct fitment or not. Okay, next we'll talk about is your induction. So there's again a difference between induction and orientation. So can you tell me what is induction and how it is different from orientation? Anaida has also joined, so I'll give her talking rights as well. Batao, Satya, are you
So
aware?
from my understanding, ma'am, induction, as the name suggests, it is mostly a very initial meeting and all, so that everybody gets familiarized with the
Right.
system.
Yeah.
And orientation means now the policies and the most important parts of the organization will be. So basically, the candidates will be now oriented towards the organization, the policies and everything that will be now discussed. So I think that is
so Satya, like, you're on the right track. So I'll tell you, induction is all about getting to know the organization. It is the initial phase, as you correctly said, and it is getting to know the organization culture, structure, vision, mission, how it works. Okay, so that's a general know-how about the organization, right? General familiarization. Next is orientation. So orientation, see, by getting inducted, by knowing the culture, by knowing the organization, vision, structure, functions, processes, values, I wouldn't be able to perform in my job, right? Is that correct, Anaira, Satya?
Correct.
Yeah, Tamogno, how am I going to perform when I know my job well? So orientation is getting to know the job. Induction is getting to know the organization, whereas orientation is all about getting to know the job, how that job has to be done. So in induction, see what happens when you're new to any organization. We feel jitters, tummy may we feel anxiety, jitters and all. Achha, first of all, tell me, do you take your lunch dabbas to your workplace on day one?
No.
no.
The reason is want to see how the canteen food is.
Absolutely. Because see, that's what happens. Anaida, do you take your lunch dabba to work on day one? Because first of all, we don't know how the day is going to be, right? Second is that sometimes it may happen that somebody, okay, we may have a team lunch or team dinner. So a team lunch or, we might come, we have no idea about it. And that is, as Tamagdam is saying, like, since we have no idea about it, it's a safer side, we don't take it, right? So there's excitement. Of course, there's fear also. We don't know how we would be treated. We don't know. We have come to a new place. We don't know how the boss is going to be, how my peers are going to be. It is similar to going to new school. Dost banenge, nahi banenge. Class teacher achhi lagegi, nahi lagegi. Teachers achhe honge. Something like that. That's what happens. So it's very important for the organization to make sure that they are making that individual feel comfortable. It is absolutely important because, that initial days, and our research says that the first 90 days of joining any organizations are very crucial. This is a time when we feel like, am I going to stick to an organization or am I going to leave the organization? So that's what happens here, right? So for example, what Google does, Google, first of all, they give these caps to their people, which they call them, which is where it is written as Noogle. See, what happens is that when you wear this cap, you are located by everyone around. And then, so for example, I join for the first time and you all are already working. So it may happen sometimes when Anaida locates me, she'll come and say, hey, hello, have you joined this organization new and all those things. Satya will tell me, okay, come the cafeteria this way, Tamogna will make me feel comfortable. So this is just to make sure that the new joinees, they don't go unnoticed. This is just to make sure they feel comfortable in their day one and in the few days, because that's the most anxious stage. So it is as important it is for us, it is also for the organization, so that they make us feel comfortable. So when you wear that cap, you definitely stand out, and you definitely get to know that you are the new one here, right? So that's how they do it. And before I talk about orientation, I'm going to show you a very, very fun video. Okay, very fun video. Just give me a moment. So this is what happened in an organization known as Talentica. Okay. So Talentica में their 199th and 200th employee was joining, and they wanted to make them feel special. So I'll show you what they've done. After watching this video, I would want to know from three of you, how would you feel if you were kind of welcomed in this way? Okay. Are we there in the blank video page? Satya, Amogna, and Anaida?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
chalo. Playing the video now.
एंट्री कीजिए यहाँ पे नहीं सर बैठिए हाँ 1 मिनट बैठिए सर आपको कहेंगे Open Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style. 인간 적인 여자 커피 한 잔에 품격 있는 여자 밤이 오면 심장이 뜨거워지는 여자 그런 반전 있는 여자
Thought it would be a normal welcome. Never expected this one. It was really exciting. Never expected such a big surprise. It's really awesome.
That was the best welcome gift I can. Open Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style.
on Gangnam Style.
Again, everything such a big crowd, and in the sense at that time they are, like, welcoming me. That's really good. Very good.
Thanks to Talentica. Best first day.
You would have liked or not. Satya is like embarrassment. What about others? Would you have liked it?
ये मतलब थोड़ा over the top लगा मेरे को.
Exactly. For me
Fear-
also.
You know what is the fear? The fear is that what if tomorrow I also have to dance
हाँ.
with somebody else?
That is one thing. Another thing is, what if इसके बाद I do not even know about the work. I mean, ठीक है. All that is fine. Now, what is the work?
Yes. Okay. So yes, let's take a break right now. Break le le.
Sure.
Yeah. So
Sure.
I'm sending you this. Generally, your Anaira's all like I would also feel super awkward. So मैं ना वो I'll send you this thing, the link of these feedback, because I am doing on behalf of your academic host or the individual. So please, during the break, I've sent this feedback form. Time you can take your 1 minute, however time it takes you to fill this up, and let's meet after 15 minutes. Is that okay?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Guys, let's come back and continue and finish our portion. Okay. Now, induction is done. We all are well aware of the company's culture, the vision, mission, all's good. We have understood the company. But we cannot be doing well only by understanding the company. We also need to know what my job is like. So orientation is getting to know the job, getting to know what is my roles, what are my roles, what is my role, what are my responsibilities, duties, okay, everything around that, clear understanding. Okay, because without that understanding, I wouldn't be able to sustain. Because if I do not know about my job role very well, the duties and how to do my job, I would be underconfident. And as I said, we would not be able to perform in the long run. Okay. And we will talk about, so we'll take that example of Google further, and we'll talk about that how Google made sure that the orientation process became much 25% better how it was. By the way, all of you have come back?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
Lovely.
ma'am.
Lovely.
Yes, ma'am.
Lovely. Acha, if it is possible, okay, I would not force you, but if it is possible, before we end the class, for the last 5 minutes, I would want you all to come on audio and video. So at least I will be able to see the faces. If you're all comfortable with that, decide on it, maybe towards the end for last 1 minute or so. So it's kind of, our final session. So that's the reason. Acha, I'm telling you, there's going to be one question from HR in your term end examination. ठीक है? एक question HR से होगा ही होगा for term end. When it comes to your big five, it is a very important concept. Your conflict resolution is very important concept, and your group formation, the Tuckman's group formation theory again is a very important concept. So these are the few concepts. Please do focus more on those concepts. Okay. And yes, one question from HR is definitely going to be there. So whether you take your term examination in slot 1 or whether you take it in slot 2, there is definitely going to be one question. Okay, now Google has something which they call it as just-in-time onboarding checklist. Okay, so what they do, only a day before a new hire would join, a new person would be joining, they send this email to the people who are only concerned. See what happens in India, we do dunya.com. We'll put everybody on CC and make sure that email reaches to everyone. But in Google, if you have received a email regarding someone's onboarding, that means you are required for that particular process. So only those people who would be involved in that onboarding of that person would be called for that particular thing. So what happens is that just-in-time approach, in this, they will only send a mail 24 hours prior to that individual joins, because this is what your recency effect is, right? We tend to remember which happens to us in the recent past. We tend to remember those things. Whereas if they would have sent this mail a month or 2 months before, all of us would have forgotten like what it is regarding. So these things are very simple so that everyone can do. Small 5 little things. That first of all, it says that whenever a new person joins, you have to clearly have a discussion with that individual, give them a very clear idea about the roles and responsibilities so that there's no ambiguity. Then you have to give a buddy. So what happens in a buddy process? So when Satya joins a new organization, he's given a buddy. Okay, maybe Satya joins Tamogno's organization. So Tamogno is Satya's buddy. So what happens in that case? As much as it is the onus of Satya to learn his job duties and responsibilities in the given frame, it is also the KRA of Tamogno. Both of them are equally responsible. So now, generally what happens, if you do not assign someone, if we keep on going to other individual, if I join somewhere and Anaida, would you tell me? Anaida, would you tell me? She will help me. But what is happening? Her time, I'm eating up her time, right? She might be uncomfortable every time if I, go and ask her, because see what happens, that productivity is also going down. She also has her own KRAs to fulfill. And that is the reason when you assign a buddy, what happens, as much as it is Pooja's job to get it done, it is also Anaida's job. So both of us are equally responsible. Okay. Then yes, social networking of people, not like your LinkedIn and your Facebook, but so if you have kids around you, or if when you were kids, you remember how important it was for us to find friends when we used to go to school, because that used to be our motivation. Likewise, when you connect with people, when you meet people, you feel comfortable. So hire them, help them to build a new social network, and then check-ins though every month. Have a discussion for the first 6 months, that okay, let's see that this month, what was our target, what were we supposed to do, let's talk about it and see how far we have come. Next month, what we are supposed to do. So every month you need to do it for at least 6 months, and then an open dialogue. So it is not that only your buddy will tell you. Sometimes it can be from other individuals. So when you have a feedback from both the ends, it will make the process to be smoother. So I told you about recency effect. So that's what happens when things are done in the right time. We have this sense of urgency, just because 24 hours before it comes to us, and we have this sense of urgency that we need to make sure that this process goes as smooth as possible. Okay. And because of this entire checklist, which they did, they found that their not hiring, but their orientation process, became much smoother, right? The results were 25% better than how it was before. Okay, now we'll do a small caselet on performance appraisal, the beekeeper and the bees, right? So this is about, there was this, okay, before that, I wanted to show, no, I did show you, so maybe towards the end. So this is a case of performance appraisal, the beekeeper and the bees. So what happened, there were these two beekeepers were there, and they were taking care of beehive, two beehives, right? Let's call them beehive A and beehive B. And they used to sell the honey, which they used to procure from these two hives. They used to sell it to a company known as Bees Incorporation. And this particular company, they call these two beekeepers for a meeting, and they said that people are loving our honey, and the demand for the honey has really increased. So now we are not able to fulfill that demand with the kind of supply we have. So we are giving you a task that both of the beekeepers of the beehive A and beehive B need to increase their honey production. So that was a task which was given to the beekeepers. So kya hota hai? The first beekeeper, he goes, calls in a meeting, and he tells to all the bees, okay, he tells them that now I'm going to measure your performance on the number of flowers you're visiting. Okay, and he'll say, I will give you a feedback in between. And he said that, I will also, it's not only towards the end, but I'll give you mid-session feedback also regarding your individual performance. And they said the bees which will visit the maximum number of flowers, they would be given special awards. But then he never told them what was told to him from the Bees Incorporation, the company, that they needed to produce a lot of honey. They needed to increase their honey production. So he just told them. Now, the second beekeeper, he also went, and he also had a meeting with everyone. So he said, he told each and every bee about the communication which was given to him from the hive. So he told that people are loving our honey. So for that reason, now the company has asked us to increase our honey production. So he also said that I'm going to have a very robust performance management system, that earlier one. So he said, so I'm going to check you all on two aspects. One, how much amount of nectar you all are, like every single bee is bringing back to the hive. That's the first criteria. And the second criteria was that how much amount the entire hive was producing. So one was individual target. Okay, another was your group target. He said, I'm going to check the overall performance, and he made a bulletin board where he would be checking everyone's performance. So that's what he did. Now, he also made sure that he would also give some awards, incentivize each hive, each bee on the basis of the amount of nectar they were bringing, and also on the basis of entire hive's honey production. Now, from this entire small story or a case, would you be able to tell me that which beehive would have performed better?
The second one.
Okay, so now Mogna says the second one. What about you, Anaida and Satya? What do you think?
For me also, I think, ma'am, it is the second one.
Okay, so Satya also is on the same grounds, and even Anaida is saying the same thing. Now, acha, first you all tell me, do you all like trekking and all? Acha lagta hai? Trek.
हाँ.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So when you go for these kind of trekking and all, do you carry a lot of stuff with you, or would you want to travel light?
Travel light.
Travel light.
Not
Like
only trekking, kahi pe bhi. Travel
हाँ,
light.
I think that is with men. Anaida. Okay. Now you will see in this case, in the first instance only, okay, what did the beehive keeper said? He said, I would be checking you on the number of flowers you all are visiting. Remember? Ye
हाँ.
bola, real.
हाँ.
Now what happens, in order to visit as many flowers as possible, they wanted to keep themselves light, and hence they were carrying less nectar, because the performance was not based on how much nectar you were bringing. The performance was, and that's what the goals have to be very precise.
Specific and clear.
You cannot have these vague goals. So in order to keep themselves light so that they can visit as many flowers as possible, they carried less nectar. Another thing was that it was just individual performance. So what these bees did, when they found a place where they would find flowers, they would not tell other bees, because competition was there, a bad competition. Whereas if you see in the other, beehive bees case, he first of all clearly communicated the goals. He also said he checked on both the parameters, individual as well as group. So he said, I would be seeing how much nectar you are bringing. Also, I would be checking on the entire hive's production. So here, these people were not competing, but also collaborating. Okay, so they were, and the ones who were not able to perform well, what they did, they transferred them to beehive A. So all three of you are correct. It was the beehive B which performed better.
Ma'am, I have a question here, just clarification. But do you agree that sometimes a vague target helps a person to move from a more monotonous work routine to a more innovative style?
But
I will just give an example which happened in real life. I was a person up to my 5 years or 6 years of experience. I used to only do the work which was given to me, and I didn't used to think that what can be beyond it. So one day, a new manager was assigned to me. He observed me for 6 months. This was when I was 5 years experience, was not too much experienced in the corporate industry. So he told me one day in the morning that from tomorrow you are not going to look at any bugs or tickets. I asked him, then what should I do? He told me, I don't know, you figure that out. And that is what led me to do much bigger things in my career, and that is what led me to whatever I did afterwards. So he didn't give me any target from the word go. That's the reason I was asking.
It's very interesting, Tamoga. What you are saying is that, so probably he knew your potential and he knew that you can do way beyond. So it's a way, of course. See, again, it may not work with everyone. That is also there, Tamoga. There might be people who would be like clueless what to do next. He was able to assess you well. He was able to assess your potential well. So both the parties, when you say the appraiser and the appraisee, they have to be in line. And because of that, you took challenges yourself and you set out well. But in another way, Tamagno, most of the time, see, outliers will always be there. There's no concrete formula of doing anything. Business ka bhi koi, you learn about business more than when you go and expose and talk to a vada pav vendor or a, kathi roll vendor. Unke business model se we learn a lot of things. So it's not that it would taught. Otherwise, Mr. Dhirubhai Ambani wouldn't have been what he is. You must be aware that which country used to work. He used to get the countries had this currency which were of silver. Okay, the currency itni zyada महंगी नहीं होती थी जितना उसका coin, minting amount. So what he did, he met an English gentleman, I think. So he used to melt that and sell that silver to that individual. So it's, sometimes it also depends what kind of person you are. So probably, Tamogno, it really worked with you because he saw that potential. He recognized that it might not work with everyone. generally in such case where you feel that individual has much more capability, then you need to give them more challenging task. Agar ek bacha 70% la raha hai, you tell them ki, okay, you know what, I want you to get, probably he's good and you see, oh, next time you get 75 and you are able to see he's getting that, maybe set a difficult target, a more challenging target for that individual. Something on that ground. But yes, Tamogna, there would be people who would be outliers, performing best and another way as well.
Fine, got it.
Now we'll talk about traditional appraisal methods and then we'll talk about the modern appraisal methods. So traditional appraisal methods are those like, which are oriented more on certain traits like honesty, leadership, initiative, confidence, judgment. So these are very trait oriented, and they are also, that's the reason they are known as past oriented methods and all. So, and these are like confidential scale rating system, critical incidents. We would be doing it one by one on the coming slides. So as I said, these are known as past oriented or future oriented. So first, let's talk about the past oriented or the traditional confidential report. Now in confidential report, the supervisor writes a detailed report about the individual who is about the subordinate, writes a detailed one. Okay, everything where he has done good, he gives him them every little feedback about it. But the problem with that is that it is never shared with that individual. You're getting my point? So if Anaida is my boss, she's writing a report about me, but it is never shared with me. So how am I going to work on my, areas of concern or areas of improvement? So that is the biggest flaw. Now, this confidential report is very much in trend in all the government organizations, mostly. And that's the reason if you have your parents or anyone working in government organizations, you would see that they would be talking about their annual confidential report. They'll call it a CR or ACR. It is done in Air Force, it is done in Army, it is done in Navy, it is done in hospitals, government hospitals, it is done in government universities. So that is known as, and even in ministries and everywhere. So this is known as confidential report. The biggest con is that only that I will never come to know about my flaws here. Okay, because it is said to be confidential. Then comes the most cursed method, bell curve. Have you ever heard your boss or you as a boss telling others that, you know what, I really rated you, far exceed expectation, but it went for the normalization and it came across as met expectation? Why?
Bilkul.
Every time,
And
right? You have also given it to people, people would have also given it to you. So this is most ranking bell curve. Yes.
And सबसे बड़ी बात ये है कि what I have observed, you work too hard and you know your colleague who is having almost similar job responsibility did not contribute that much which to what you have done. I mean, like, I'm not telling from self-service bias perspective, but giving a honest feedback. And then what happens is you get a 17% hike, for example, and the other person, for the sake of bell curve, gets 12% hike.
Yeah.
So ये 5% के लिए मैं क्यों करा? So that kind of a thing comes in. Yeah.
That's what, that's what, it's a forced ranking system. So if you have, so for example, last year, my performance, let's say, for example, was like 90%. And this year it has come to 110%. So if I see I've really improved on my performance, but then my performance is not judged on my sole performance. They will see Satya's, Anaida's, Tamogna, and they'll say, they have performed better than you. And that is the reason I would be rated less. So it's, kind of force-fitting people. This is the top performers, mediocrity, okay, high, mediocre, middle, and then the low. So this is also known as, rank and yang people. So generally people who are in the tail end of it, they are generally kind of put, it's a kind of a warning sign for them. Sometimes they may be also put under PIP, which is a performance improvement plan, which is a kind of warning that mend your ways or otherwise it's going to be difficult. Then ranking is as simple as that. What used to happen to us too in our school days, that we would be ranked based on our performance, like, top one, first to Likewise, they do the ranking to understand the worth of the employees. So all the employees are compared to each other, which might not be the right case because every individual is doing a different job. But still, everybody would be compared, and based on that, they would be giving ranking to people from 1 to whatever number it is, right? It's the oldest and simplest. Sometimes it may happen first in department wise, then after that, it may go into an organizational level. Then comes rating. So rating scale is, it's in scale, it's in the magnitudes are different. So it's a quantitative number. So what happens is that, for example, the parameters can be discipline, initiative, honesty, and likewise. So if I see Anaida has been always good in making discipline, living discipline, taking initiative, so she might be getting 8, 9, or 10, that she's falling in the higher end. If there's an X individual, that person is getting towards, the lower end, that means that person is said to be unpleasant and all. So it's a kind of a broad range where people may be categorized based on different traits they show, right? So different categories are given, and based on that, whatever information you have about these individuals, you would be giving them rating to that. Now, then there is a checklist method. So checklist, see, in rating scale, we still had a range, right? So for example, I may get a 9 somewhere, I may get a 5. And if I rarely do that, I may get a 1 or 2. But in checklist method, you have 2 extreme ends, and you need to choose one out of that. So if they ask a question, does Pooja take initiative? I may take initiative, but it might not happen that I'm taking initiative all the times. So then there's no, one way out. Either you have to say, yes, Pooja takes initiatives, or you are just rejecting that Pooja does not take initiative. I might have taken. So maybe if it was a rating scale, I might have gotten a 4 or a 5. Based on the initiatives. But here you have to choose between 2 extreme ends. So it's not a very popular way of doing it, but yes, there's a like very objective, you put either yes or no, true or false kind of thing. So yeah, sometimes it becomes very hard to define from this only. Okay, I have forgotten this one. This is very important. That's why I've said that how did it complete? Now, another is known as your critical incident method. Now, what happens in critical incident method? So all the positive, critical incidents can be positive critical incidents and can be negative critical incidents. Positive ones are those where you have gone and, extra mile, showed your work, done really delightful work, and really come across as a very strong asset for the organization. That is a positive critical incident. And negative critical incident is that where you could have done things differently, would have contributed more, but you did not. You probably slagged and you were not able to fulfill that. That is a negative critical incident. Likewise, you tend to bucket all these positive and negative critical incident. And towards the end of that appraisal cycle, you would be checked on those critical incidents. Now, I have a question for all of you. Suppose there is an individual towards the end of the year, it comes across that individual has like 16 positive critical incidents and 2 negative critical incidents. So tell me, how would his performance be rated?
Should be in a positive way with a feedback of how to avoid the negative one.
Okay, so Tamogna says 16 and 2, it has to be positive. What about you, Anaida and Satya?
Also depends on the magnitude of the negative one.
Absolutely. So for example, Tamogna, let's take a scenario that I'm working in a bank, okay? And all 16 things are good, I get a good feedback. But because of me, some shares get transferred to a wrong account. And for that, we had to bear a loss of, say, some percent or whatever it is. So do you understand the magnitude of it? It is a big mistake. It is a big problem. So that is the reason, however, 16 positive critical incidents are probably, if these 2 ones are very huge, I would not be spared. My rating would definitely be negative. My performance would be seen negative. So as you rightly added, that it is also the magnitude which is important. Yes, Satya.
So, ma'am, in process management, there is one more thing called FMEA, failure modes and effect analysis. So in that also, we basically rate any failure or incident on the basis of 3 factors, that is severity, severity, occurrence, and priority.
Hmm.
So these three are the main criteria based upon
Absolutely. How
which
severe it is,
how
yes.
severe it is.
And how recurring it is, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that is important, yes. So this is critical incident. So Belka, we have done ranking, rating, checklist. Now we'll come to the modern appraisal method. So if you see the earlier ones, they are mostly trade-based. Mostly they don't check how it's been working. Now the concept about the human resources has changed a lot. And that is the reason now we have the newer systems of doing it. So we would be talking about these 5 modern appraisal methods, which is human resource accounting, assessment centers, behavioral anchored rating scales, management by objectives, and 360-degree appraisal. The first is human resource accounting. Gone are those days when employees were seen as liabilities, right? Now we all are seen as assets because, your assets may keep on depreciating, but with experience, we will have more knowledge. Now, how you check people's performance here? So first of all, it is checked how much the organization has invested in you. Investment can be in terms of your salary, it can be in terms of the training which is provided to you, it can be in terms of perks which are given to you, it may be in terms of how updated you are, whatever the investment is done in you. So company will check that the investment made in every human resource versus what you're giving back to the organization. That is the value of human resource. Okay, what is your productivity? Are you generating more profit for the organization? Are you generating more income for the organization? So if the value of human resource is more than the investment which was made on her, that means that your performance is positive. Okay, whereas if the investment goes on a higher side and the value which that individual has given is lesser, that means there's a gap. So we need to analyze that gap. That gap may be, probably that person is not properly trained, that person lacks motivation, the organization does not have favorable condition. It can be anything, but this is the way to check our productivity or our performance for a particular year, right? Investment versus value. Now, another is your assessment centers. I'll show you a video on this. So assessment centers, it's not a center per se, but it's a technique, okay, which has a mix of various techniques through which you come to know. Okay, so generally when you are hired in a top position, or generally when you are ready for the next level, okay, from low management to a middle management, so assessment centers may happen. So in these assessment centers, it can be a case study. Okay, they may give you a case study, they may give you a role play, they may test you, they may give you a presentation, it can be a group exercise, it can have a mishmash of various exercise. And that's where you tend to understand that whether this individual is fit or not. Sometimes you may also have to go through stress interview. They may be very rude to you. They will try to stress you as much as possible because they want to see the real you, right? Under stress, whether you have that emotional stability or not. Let me show you a video on assessment center. Just give me a moment. Just a minute. This is what happens when we try to search something at that particular moment. I'll never get anything. Okay. I did get that. Just give me a moment. You're there on the page? Are you there?
Ma'am, sound nahi aa raha hai. Sound is not coming. Ma'am, are you able to hear?
Just a music. Yes, yes, I'm there. It's just a music. You're not even able to get that music. Just a moment. Okay, okay. Now, Satya? Okay. So this is how assessment centers happen, and it does happen in India also. So generally, when people are ready for the next level, they would have to go through assessment centers. Okay. Now coming to, and as I said, stress interview is also a big part of assessment center. It's something, if you all watch Roadies and Big Boss, if you are aware of the pattern, I don't think so, like you watch and all, but you would be aware of the pattern. So that is the assessment center for entertainment industry, right? That's an assessment center for the entertainment industry.
Right.
Now, this is something which is very, very suitable, which is behavioral anchored rating scale. So what we have done, we have taken two past oriented or traditional methods, combined them to one, and voila, we have gotten a, what do you say, a modern method. So in behavioral anchored rating scale, we have combined critical incident method and your rating scales. So for example, if I give Satya a 9 on 10 when it comes to his initiative or his diligence, I need to give reason for that. So bias will go away. So I have to tell where Satya took initiative and where he performed very well. Likewise, if somebody gives a bad rating to me and saying that, oh, she's not disciplined, that individual will have to give a reason. So here you are not only getting quantitative data from rating scale, but you're also getting qualitative data from critical incident. So what we have done, we have combined two past oriented methods and got the best from both the words. So it's a amalgamation of rating scale. From the rating scale, we get the quantitative, the numbers, we crunch the numbers, and from critical incident, we get the qualitative data, which tells us that if I'm giving this individual less, high, or mediocre rating for this particular thing, what's the reason behind that? Okay, and that's how it is considered to be a really good way of doing it. Another one is management by objective. So management by objective is that, where you are combining individual goals with organizational goals. If you remember math, we used to do these Venn diagrams. There used to be that intersection point. So it is that intersection point where it's not only organizational goal, but your own personal goals. So what you are doing here, when an individual works towards fulfilling those organizational goals, that individual is also able to fulfill the goal. The goals have to be SMART goals. That means they need to be specific, they need to be measurable, they need to be attainable, they need to be realistic or relevant, and they need to be time bound. And also the feedback has to be provided. You need to hold hands. Mentoring should be there. The feedback should not come towards the end. It is said that if your feedback comes as a surprise to you, it is not your problem. It is that your supervisor has not done it right. Feedback should never be surprise. It's a journey. It cannot be one last day you wake up and see that, oh, Pooja, you are not performing. You tell me in between when things go south so that I can mend my ways. Right? So in management by objective, you sit with the individual, chart out the goals with that individual. So that individual, it's not that you are just passing on that work to that person. It is that person is also a part of constructing those goals for himself. So when I have my say in making those goals, it is like my baby. When it comes as a news to me that my boss tells that, Pooja, you need to do these things, I would not be aligned that much. However, I would want to do aligning of, the thought with the goals will come when you are also a part of that process of setting goals. So when you and your supervisor set goals for yourself, and there's constant mentoring and hand holding, and when you create objects which not only fulfills the organization but yours also, that is known as management by objectives. And it's a very old term, like in 1950s, Peter Drucker had termed this. And then comes the last one, which is 360-degree feedback. So 360-degree feedback is that, there can be a lot of bias. If I like Satya or I like Anaida or Tamogno, I can really, that human being, error can come, bias can come, and sometimes, that personal relationship, or if I don't like someone, that can come there. So in order to reduce this subjectivity and to make it as much as objective and bias-free, 360-degree feedback is introduced. But again, before we go forward for the 360-degree feedback, we need to understand it costs a lot of money. So that's the reason a company like PepsiCo can have it, but a small startup, it would not make a lot of sense. So in 360-degree feedback, you are not only assessed by your boss or your supervisor, but that supervisor's supervisor as well. That means your super boss, your peers, that means your colleagues, your subordinates, that means people who all are reporting to you, your clients, and even your vendors. So you're getting a holistic view. That's the reason we call it as a 360-degree feedback. So, the bias can be reduced as much as possible. Okay. So that is it. Any questions?
I thought
yeah.
360-degree would also mean that I providing feedback about my supervisor.
No, that would happen in his 360-degree feedback, right? Over,
Okay.
right? You would also be a part of that procedure.
Oh, in our organization, it happens. Oh, so you mean to say in case of 360 degrees, apart from my supervisor, there is someone else who is also assessing me?
No, your supervisor and his boss. Okay, two bosses.
Okay.
Your subordinate, your peer,
Hmm.
the colleague. So for example, I'm your subordinate, so I'll also give feedback. Anaida is your boss, she'll also give feedback. Tamogno is your colleague, he will also give feedback. Okay, somebody else is Anaida's boss, he will also give feedback. Your vendors will give feedback about you, your clients will give. So you are getting a holistic view about an individual's performance so that the bias can be reduced as much as possible.
Understood.
So if you all are comfortable, can we have you all on audio and video for 2 minutes before we say bye-bye to each other?
Sure.
Anaida and Satya?
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Yes, please, lovely. So at least I will have, I'll remember the faces then. I will just not have, I'll have the faces as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to give you the right slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am.
Just sitting idle and not promoted. You all accept as panelists, then I'll make
Okay.
you.
Can you give again because I said stay as attendee?
Okay. Yeah, and then I'll promote you to be the co-host, and then you can start the video. And Ida has joined.
I actually selected stay as attendee by mistake.
Satya also is co-host. Abhi fir se you did the same thing, kya? No. Okay. And then can we have you all? So I can see Satya, Anaida, as well as Tamogno. It was a really nice journey, guys. Like, though we were very small class, but we made it looked like interaction only. It never looked for me that I was teaching something. I felt it to be very interactive. I got to know a lot about your organizations and you. And Anaida, I remember you went out for dinner last time with family.
Yeah.
So yeah, how are you all keeping? Have you all prepared yourself?
Yes, prepared.
Very good. Very good. So what are your plans? Tomorrow, do you have classes?
No, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, because this is a term and exam week, so
Next weekend, yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's the reason. So this weekend, tomorrow, you must be having the earlier subjects term and examination, na?
No, we just have the IA.
Okay.
And then we'll
Just
be preparing for the next weekend. We have the term and exam.
Term and examination. So as I was saying, please go through the conflict resolution techniques, go through this entire HR portion and your big five and all those personality traits and all those things. And well, you all will,
Tuckman group formation.
yeah. And also leadership ka styles dekh lena, that's it. And you just need to be, so you need to just see these 4. I told you I would be taking these term and examination from the live session. So you need to just go through these PDF. This one, is it shared with you all? The
Yes.
the slides.
Fourth wali bhi share ho.
Yes.
Fourth,
I didn't check actually, ma'am.
Fourth
We were
one
there.
was
in
only
the evening
missing.
I had checked, so 3 were there.
So I'll send them. Probably I wouldn't. Maybe I would have forgotten. I'll send it right now also. So they
Fourth
share.
is not there.
So I thought so. So I'll share it with you all. Okay, I'll send it to them and they'll share it with you all. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Sure.
Really nice having you all. All the best. Do well and please keep in touch.
Sure, ma'am. Through LinkedIn, right? Ma'am, what's your email ID?
In
If-
LinkedIn, you can search Pooja
Okay.
A. Basu and comma PhD. The name goes like that.
Mhm.
Okay, you will find me. So
Sure.
yeah, we'll do keep in touch. All the best. Do really well.
Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Sure. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Nice interacting with you. Thank you. Bye.
It was great.
Bye.
Bye-bye.